Hello, my name is Rich Howard, and I'm the owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is going to be talking about and going through the steps of basically building a work area, a desk we're going to build, and we're going to add some other creature comforts to a environment in which I spend time working in. So let's move forward and let me show you what I have in mind. Okay, here we are. We are in the shop, and now it is time to start. I'm going to lay up the wood for what we're working on here, and here's my sketch. This is from last week when I made this, and looking at my notes, I'm not going to make any changes, except what I'm going to do is I'm going to make all of this out of one piece, and then I will just cut the back end and the front end together. I now recall that I was supposed to start with cutting the brackets so that I could slide the 1¼ inch desk into the structure. And I have not ordered a bandsaw. I may just order a Home Improvement Center Blue Light Special bandsaw just to cut it, or I might just use my cutoff tool. What I want to do is order the end-all to be-all vertical and horizontal bandsaw, but I'm probably going to delay that so I can do the proper amount of research. So I'm going to go about figuring out what sort of wood I'm going to use for this. I'm going to go about the shop here and just figure out what I'm going to use, and when I know what I'm going to use, I will come back and announce it. Okay, so what I'm going to use is just some scrap, basically. I did a project where we made underliners for a restaurant. You may not know the term underliners, but that's actually what they're called. And allow me to show you what the underliner is. It's kind of interesting. If you've ever ordered fajitas, you've had underliners at your table. This is an underliner. It is what the red hot skillet sits on when it comes out from the kitchen. We even put our customer's logo on the back of one of them. It wasn't ordered with the logo, but I wanted to demonstrate it. So I've got a sheet of plywood where I was cutting the bottom side, or whatever it was, the bottom side first, and when I took the sheet of plywood to flip it over to cut the top side, I didn't have my reference points correct. So when you draw something on the CNC, you need to have reference points, and let me show you. That's a reference point. Down at the other end of the table, I've got another reference point. So what you do is you drill that reference point into your sheet of plywood. You also drill it into your spoil board. You mill it into your spoil board so that when you make all of your drawings in the software for the bottom, and you flip that over, and you haven't obviously changed your reference point, and all of your machining, all of your vectors from north of the reference point and south of the, up on the y-axis and down on the y-axis from that center line of the reference points, as long as you are completely centered off of that reference line, then you're good to flip it over. Well, I had the Y correct. I didn't have the spacing correct on the X. So when I flipped it over, I was good over at the top of the sheet here and on the back side, but by the time I got down here, I was way off. I was off, whatever that is, an inch. So I'm going to use this, and that's 3/4 plywood. I've got a couple of pieces of 1/4 inch plywood here that were in some, I think the Home Depots of the world call it blonde wood or something like that. What I'm going to do with that, what I was going to do with that blonde wood, which I will, I found a vector online of Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water. And I took that vector and put it into the CNC software and scaled it out to be about 6 foot wide. So on the y-axis, I would fill an entire sheet of it with the elevation of Falling Water, his crowning achievement as an architect. That project is just for fun, really. So I'll use that plywood that's sitting here. It's probably been here a year, and we will get it all laid up. I only need something that's going to be about 26, and then about 60. So I'm going to make sure I've got glue, and then we'll come back and we'll just be gluing it up. Let's do it.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get our table loaded up here with some 2x4s so that we can put clamps on them and hold it all together. We'll get 2x4s laid down, we'll get the first sheet put on, and then we're going to have to pick that up after I get the glue. Turns out I don't have nearly enough glue to do the job. So let's start that. We'll have to get more for the top side as well. Enough pieces of wood to not, or at least to minimize the deflection of the item. Yeah, it'll work. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So I'll need 9 more pieces. And first sheet will go down. And I'm not overly concerned about it bellying at all. Okay, so we just need to be closer in here. Yeah, good enough. Let's take a look at what we've got here. We've got those spaced out well enough. And we've got this, it'll give some rigidity to it, this bottom board. Then I'm going to bring this sheet of 1/4 inch, whatever they called it, blonde wood. And then we're going to pick it up tomorrow, and I have not only glue, but a paint roller as well. So what the routine on this is going to be paint roller with glue, and I'm going to have somebody here with me when I lay up the other pieces because I can't throw it on there. Maybe what I'll use is, how thick are 2 of these? Yeah, we're going to end up using this particle board, and that means I'm not going to need help laying it up. These are about, they're just shy on 5/16 each, I think, or maybe it's 3/8. Yeah, just shy on 3/8. 3/8 plus 3/8 is 3/4. So I'm going to use these sheets, and that'll be awesome because I won't have to have somebody help me. I have a boatload of them, and they're wide enough. These are 29 inch. Right on, 29.5. I'm going to use these. All we need now is the glue, and we'll get a glue roller, a very inexpensive paint pan, and we're off to the races. Let's continue. Okay, let's get this laid up. So we need about 60 by 30-ish or so. Let me just give myself some basic outlines here.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
Let's get this glue spread on here. This is just Titebond original wood glue. I don't see a reason to use anything beyond a standard wood glue for this. All right, so here we are the next morning. Let's take a look and see what everything looks like. What I realized last night was I didn't really lay the parts up as I said I wanted to in the exact center, so that could be my datum. And I've been thinking about, okay, how am I going to determine exactly where I'm going to create the datum? So I'll just inspect inside of here and get an idea of where it's solid, and I'll mark that off so that I can create the rectangle out of this. So let's go back to doing that. There'll be someone that's going to be coming here to help me move this. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good. That's a corner there. That's a good corner there. Yeah, we're going to be in good shape. Oh yeah, we've got right where I need the coverage to be is where I've got it in terms of it being secured down below. Okay, yeah, we're right there. My drawing called this out to be 26 inch, so the glue line is pretty close based on what I can tell from above here. For us. So I have I've got this laid out, and we're going to get this moved onto the machine, and I will come up with a datum point here, and I'm going to cut the profile, and it should be okay. I'll be inspecting the edge. I'll do one side at a time to make sure I get solid edge work. And then if I don't, I'll scooch it over, hopefully. It's tight in the sense of the overall length of what I believe to be glued. But at the end of the day, if I've got a problem, I'll just get some glue inside of here. I'll cut it much closer to the line. I'll get glue in there and I'll reclamp it. And I'll come back tomorrow. But what I realized last night is I need a rolling cart, maybe 3 foot wide and maybe 6 foot long, at the exact height of the CNC, so that I can roll something here. Imagine if this was my rolling cart. I could then take this workpiece and roll it, get it right into place to the machine and in. Now what I'm going to be purchasing, and it'll be another video, is the SL1 from Kaval. Kaval is a manufacturer of CNC equipment specifically for the door industry, commercial and residential. They have their vacuum lift, and I will run overhead aluminum I-beam track where I'll be able to pick that up with a vacuum lift and be able to move that. And in fact, I'll be able to place it, when I'm done, I'll be able to place it basically right on top of the tool. All right, so the next thing that you'll probably see us doing is loading this onto the machine. All right, so this is the sheet loaded, and let's continue on with the video.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, it is the next day, and we are going to take our laid up sheet and we're going to cut it on the CNC. It was 37 degrees this morning when I got in the pool. Yes, the pool's heated. I'm not a polar bear, but it was cold. I've lived in Naples, Florida for 8 years, and it's never been quite that cold. 43 was the previous record, but it's 37 this morning. That's seriously cold for this part of Florida. Being originally from Chicago, it's not really cold, but when you are accustomed to 10 and a half months a year of it being in the 60s and 70s and 80s and really low 90s, it's a botheration. So let's move forward. What we're going to do is go to the screen view, and we are going to draw the very simple rectangular vector. I'm going to figure out which bit to use, and we'll probe the work just to make sure that we're solid, because what I really should have done was, rather than lay up the pieces of particle board inside between the two sheets of 1/4-inch plywood, I should have increased the size of that, because I realized as the tool is going to come through, the plywood that's hanging off is really going to vibrate. So next time is what we'll do. So I'm going to grab my notebook with my dimensions and we'll take a final review before we go to the screen view. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.